You missed a spot, old man. The glass hits the floor, doesn't break, just rolls toward the dishwasher station where Thomas Kade stands, hands submerged in soapy water. The bar goes quiet. Not silent, the jukebox still plays, the radiator still hisses, but the conversations drop to whispers. Thomas doesn't turn around. Behind him, Derek Holloway leans against the bar top, arms crossed. Designer jacket. Gold watch. Smile like a wolf that's never gone hungry. I said you missed a spot. Derek's voice carries across the room, performative, needing witnesses. Thomas lifts the glass from the floor, sets it on the rack. His movements are slow, deliberate. I heard you, he says quietly. Derek laughs, loud. Then maybe you should move faster. Some of us have standards. The bartender, Nina Rodriguez, 43 years old, 6 years at this bar, freezes mid-pour. She knows this pattern. Derek comes in 3 nights a week, spends $200, tips 15%, and treats the staff like furniture that talks back too much. Thomas returns to the sink, doesn't respond. Derek pushes off the bar, walks toward him. His boots are too clean for this town, too expensive for this room. You know what your problem is? Derek stops 3 feet away. You're slow, weak, probably why you're washing dishes at 70 years old instead of 62, Thomas says. What? I'm 62. Derek's smile sharpens. Even worse, 62 and scrubbing plates at Murphy's Tavern. That's a legacy. Scattered nervous laughter from Derek's table. 3 younger guys, crew members from his construction company. They laugh because Derek signs their checks. Thomas's shoulders don't shift. His breathing stays even. He places another clean glass on the rack with the kind of precision that doesn't match his age or his position. Nina steps forward. Derek, leave him alone. I'm just making conversation, Nina. Derek's tone shifts, honey over gravel. No harm in that. There is when you're an asshole about it. The room tenses. Derek's expression darkens. Careful. I'm a paying customer. And he's my employee. Then maybe hire better employees. Nina's jaw tightens. She's about to respond when Thomas speaks. It's fine. Both of them turn. Thomas is looking at Nina now. His eyes are gray, calm, impossibly calm. I don't need defending, he says. Derek grins. See? The dishwasher knows his place. Thomas returns to the sink. The air in Murphy's Tavern shifts by half a degree. Something cold, something patient. No one notices yet. 40 minutes earlier, Thomas had arrived through the back door, same as always. 6 p.m. Winter dusk settling over the harbor. The smell of salt and diesel and fishing nets hung in the cold. Murphy's Tavern sat at the edge of the waterfront. Old wood, faded paint. The kind of bar where locals went to forget their day, not celebrate it. Thomas had hung his jacket on the hook by the kitchen. A heavy canvas work jacket, faded green. Patches on the elbows. Beneath it, he wore a gray thermal shirt and worn jeans. His hands were scarred, knuckles thick, nails clean. Nina had been prepping bottles behind the bar. Evening, Thomas. Evening. Cold one tonight. Always is. That was the extent of their conversation. It always was. Thomas didn't talk much, didn't complain, showed up on time, did his work, left when his shift ended. Nina liked him, trusted him, knew almost nothing about him. She knew he'd moved to town 2 years ago. Rented a 1-bedroom apartment above the marine supply store, walked to work, walked home, never ordered a drink, never stayed after his shift. The rest was silence. Now, Derek Holloway circles back to his table. His crew shifts to make room. They're drinking craft beer, expensive stuff, not the house tap. Derek drops into his chair. Guy's pathetic. One of the crew, a younger man named Craig, glances toward the kitchen. He doesn't seem pathetic. What? I don't know, something about him, the way he stands. Derek snorts. He stands like a guy who washes dishes, that's it. But Craig keeps looking. There's something in Thomas's posture, the way his spine stays straight despite hours over a sink. The way his hands move with economy, no wasted motion. Nina pours another round, delivers it to Derek's table without a word. Derek catches her wrist, gently, just enough to stop her. Nina, sweetheart, why do you keep that fossil around? She pulls her wrist free. Because he works harder than anyone I've ever hired. But he's old. So get someone younger, faster, better looking. Derek grins. I know a guy who needs work, 25, former college athlete, could handle twice the volume. I'm not firing Thomas. Why not? Because he's good at his job, and he doesn't harass my staff. Derek leans back in his chair. You think I harass your staff? I think you like making people feel small. I think you're overly sensitive. Nina walks away. Derek watches her go. His expression hardens. He doesn't like being dismissed. He stands, walks back toward the kitchen. Thomas is drying glasses now, stacking them with geometric precision. Hey, old man. Thomas doesn't look up. I'm talking to you. I know. Then look at me when I'm speaking. Thomas sets down the glass, turns. His gray eyes meet Derek's without blinking. Derek falters for half a second. Something about the steadiness. The absolute lack of fear. Then Derek recovers. You got a problem with me? No. Good, because I'm about to make you an offer. Thomas waits. I'll give you $100 to quit, right now. Walk out. Let Nina hire someone competent. The bar goes completely silent now. Even the jukebox seems quieter. Thomas doesn't move. No. Derek's smile vanishes. No. I need this job. Why? Social Security not cutting it? Thomas's expression doesn't change. Something like that. Derek steps closer, invading space, using his height, his youth, his presence. Let me tell you something, old man. This town doesn't need you. This bar doesn't need you. You're taking up space someone younger could use. Thomas's breathing doesn't change. In, out, steady as a metronome. Maybe, Thomas says, but I'm still here. Derek's face flushes. You think you're tough? You think because you've got that quiet act going, people respect you? I don't need respect. Good, because you don't have it. Thomas picks up another glass, starts drying it. Derek's hand shoots out, knocks the glass from Thomas's grip. It shatters on the concrete floor. The sound cracks through the room like a gunshot. Nina moves from behind the bar. Derek, stay out of this. Get out, now. Derek spins toward her. I'm a customer. I spend real money here. You're going to kick me out over some dishwasher? Yes. The word lands flat, final. Derek's crew shifts uncomfortably. Craig stands. Derek, maybe we should... Sit down. Craig sits. Derek turns back to Thomas. You going to let a woman fight your battles? Thomas is crouched now, picking up glass shards with his bare hands. His movements are careful, methodical. I don't have battles, he says. Coward. Thomas places the shards in the trash, stands, wipes his hands on a towel. I've been called worse. Something in his tone makes Derek hesitate, just for a moment, a flicker of uncertainty. Then Derek shoves Thomas, not hard, just enough to make him step back. Thomas absorbs it, doesn't push back, doesn't retaliate. His stillness is terrifying. Nina reaches for her phone. I'm calling the police. Don't, Thomas says. Everyone looks at him. It's fine, Thomas continues. His voice hasn't risen. He's just loud. Derek laughs, mean, sharp. Just loud? I could break you in half, old man. Thomas meets his eyes. Probably. The admission surprises Derek, confuses him. Then why aren't you scared? Thomas considers this. I've been scared before. This isn't it. 38 years earlier. Thomas Kade had been 24 years old, staff sergeant, Marine Corps, second deployment, a city whose name he still couldn't pronounce correctly. He'd carried an M16, a medical kit, and a photograph of his wife Claire tucked inside his helmet. They'd been married 8 months. She'd been 6 months pregnant. The explosion had come at dawn. IED buried in the road. The convoy ahead had triggered it. Thomas's squad had dismounted to provide cover. He'd spent the next 4 hours under fire, dragging wounded men to safety, applying tourniquets, calling for medevac. He'd been 24 years old and had held a 19-year-old private while the kid bled out in his arms. Thomas had whispered, "You're going home. Stay with me. You're going home." The private had died anyway. Thomas had received a Bronze Star, a handshake from a colonel, a week of administrative leave. Then he'd gone back to work. He'd done 2 more tours, became a sergeant, then a gunnery sergeant, taught younger Marines how to survive, how to lead. How to stay calm when the world caught fire. He'd retired at 43, 19 years of service, a pension, a body that ached in the cold. He'd come home to Claire and their daughter, Emma, tried to be a civilian, tried to be normal. For 11 years, it had worked. Then Claire got sick. Lung cancer. Never smoked a day in her life. She died 3 weeks after diagnosis. Emma had been 17. Thomas had been 54. They'd tried to hold together. But grief was a solvent. It dissolved the bonds they'd spent years building. Emma left for college, stopped calling, stopped visiting. Thomas didn't blame her. He'd spent her childhood deployed, spent her teenage years emotionally distant. PTSD didn't come with a manual for fatherhood. At 60, Thomas had sold the house, moved to this coastal town, found work washing dishes, because dishes didn't ask questions, didn't need emotions, didn't require him to be anything other than present. It wasn't hiding, it was surviving. Back in Murphy's Tavern, Derek is still talking. You know what I think? Derek's voice is loud now, alcohol and ego mixing into something volatile. I think you're a quitter. I think you gave up on life. I think you should sit down. The voice comes from the corner booth, an older man, 70 maybe, flannel shirt, weathered face. His name is Frank Delaney, local fisherman, retired Navy. Derek turns. Excuse me? You heard me. Sit down. Stop embarrassing yourself. Derek's face reddens. Who the hell are you? Someone who knows a bully when I see one. Derek's crew shifts. Craig stands again. Derek, let's just go. No. Derek's voice is sharp. I'm making a point. What point? Frank's voice is calm, steady. That you're rich, that you're young, that you can push around a dishwasher. He's not just a dishwasher, Derek snaps. He's a symbol of weakness, of giving up. Frank stands, slowly, his knees creak. You don't know what you're talking about. Then enlighten me. Frank looks at Thomas. You going to tell him, or should I? Thomas shakes his head. Nothing to tell. Bullshit, Thomas's jaw tightens. Frank, he's got a right to know who he's insulting. Derek crosses his arms. I'm listening. Frank limps toward the bar. Bad hip. Old injury. He stops beside Thomas. This old man served 19 years in the Marines, 2 Bronze Stars, a Purple Heart. He pulled men out of burning vehicles, taught leadership courses at Quantico, was recommended for officer training 3 times. The bar goes completely still. Derek's expression shifts. Confusion. Disbelief. You're making that up. Am I? Frank looks at Thomas. Show him. Thomas doesn't move. Thomas, Frank's voice softens. Show him. For a long moment, Thomas doesn't respond. Then, slowly, he walks to the coat hook by the kitchen door. He lifts his canvas jacket. Underneath, hanging on the same hook, is another jacket. Military green, worn but maintained. Patches on the shoulders. Thomas lifts it down, turns it so the back is visible. Embroidered across the shoulders, USMC. Beneath that, GYSGTT Kade. And below that, a small insignia. A silver star. A purple ribbon. Thomas doesn't put it on, just holds it. The room is silent. Completely silent. Derek stares. His mouth opens, closes. Derek's voice cracks. You're a gunnery sergeant? Thomas hangs the jacket back on the hook. Was. Why didn't you say something? Why would I? Derek's face goes pale. I insulted. Yes. I called you. Yes. Derek takes a step back. His crew is frozen. Craig looks like he wants to disappear through the floor. Nina steps forward. Her voice is quiet. Derek, I think you should leave. Derek doesn't argue. He reaches for his wallet, pulls out $300 bills, sets them on the bar. For the glass, and he looks at Thomas. I'm sorry. Thomas nods once. Okay? No, Derek's voice breaks. My grandfather was a Marine, Korea. He died when I was 12. He was the best man I ever knew. Thomas's expression softens, barely, just enough to notice. Then honor him, Thomas says quietly. By being better. Derek's eyes redden. He nods, can't speak. He turns toward the door. His crew follows. Craig pauses beside Thomas. Thank you for your service, Craig says. Thomas nods. They leave. The door swings shut behind them. The bar remains quiet for another 30 seconds. Then, slowly, conversations resume, but differently. Softer. More careful. Frank sits back down at his booth. Nina pours Thomas a glass of water, slides it across the counter. "You should have told me," she says. "Why?" "So I could have kicked Derek out months ago." Thomas drinks the water. "I didn't want special treatment." "It's not special treatment. It's basic respect." "Same thing." Nina studies him. "Is it true? 2 bronze stars?" Thomas sets the glass down. 3. "Jesus. Just awards. Doesn't mean much." "It means you saved lives." Thomas doesn't respond. His hands rest flat on the counter. Scarred knuckles. Steady fingers. "I also lost lives," he says eventually. "That's the part people forget." Nina's throat tightens. "Thomas, I'm going to finish the glasses." He walks back to the sink, picks up where he left off. Frank watches from his booth. After a moment, he stands, walks over. "You didn't have to show the jacket," Frank says. "I know." "Then why did you?" Thomas rinses a glass. "Because Derek needed to see it. Not for me, for him." Frank nods slowly. "You think it'll change him?" "Don't know, but maybe it'll make him think." "That's more than most people do." Thomas places the glass on the rack. "Most people don't need to." Frank claps him on the shoulder once, gentle, the way veterans touch each other, acknowledgement without words. Then Frank returns to his booth. An hour later, the bar has mostly emptied. Nina is wiping down tables. Thomas is finishing the last of the dishes. The door opens. Derek walks back in, alone this time. Nina tenses. "Derek! I'm not here to cause trouble." Derek's voice is different, quieter. I wanted to apologize again, properly." Thomas turns off the faucet, dries his hands. Derek approaches, stops a respectful distance away. "I was out of line," Derek says. "Completely. I've been acting like an asshole for months, years probably." Thomas doesn't deny it. "My grandfather used to tell me that rank doesn't make you a leader, character does." Derek's voice cracks. "I forgot that. I've been using money and status like they mean something, but they don't, not really." Thomas studies him. "They mean something, just not what you think." "What do you mean?" "Money and status are tools, like a hammer. You can build something, or you can hurt someone. The tool doesn't decide. You do." Derek nods, slowly. "I've been hurting people." "Yes." "How do I stop?" Thomas considers this. "You already did. You came back. That's a start." Derek's eyes glisten. "My grandfather would be ashamed of me." "Maybe." Thomas's tone softens. "But he'd also want you to do better. That's what Marines do. We fail, then we adapt, then we overcome." Derek wipes his eyes. Can I buy you a drink?" Thomas shakes his head. "I don't drink." "Then coffee? Food?" "I'm good." Derek nods. Accepts it. He pulls out his wallet, removes a business card, sets it on the counter. "If you ever need anything, work, help, anything, call me." Thomas picks up the card, looks at it. "Why?" "Because you taught me something tonight, and I owe you for that." Thomas tucks the card into his pocket. "You don't owe me anything." "Yes, I do." They stand in silence for a moment. Then Derek extends his hand. Thomas shakes it, firm, brief. Derek leaves. Nina exhales slowly. "That was unexpected." "People surprise you?" Thomas says. "Do you believe him, that he'll change?" Thomas returns to the sink. "I believe he wants to. That's enough for now." 3 months later, Murphy's Tavern looks the same. Same wood, same radiator, same jukebox playing songs from 40 years ago. But the atmosphere is different. Derek comes in twice a week now, tips 50%. Asks Nina how her daughter's doing, helps Frank to his car when the old man's hip acts up. He brings his crew, but now they laugh with the staff, not at them. Thomas still washes dishes, still shows up at 6 p.m., still leaves when his shift ends. But something has shifted. One evening, Nina finds him standing by the back door, staring at his jacket, the canvas one, and beside it, the military one. "You ever wear it?" Nina asks. "Not in 2 years." "Why not?" Thomas doesn't answer right away. Then quietly, Because it reminds me of who I used to be. Is that bad? No, it's just different. I'm not that person anymore. Nina steps beside him. Maybe you're both people. Thomas looks at her. The Marine, the dishwasher. Maybe they're the same guy, just different chapters. Thomas's mouth twitches, almost a smile. That's poetic. I have my moments. That night, after his shift, Thomas walks home. The harbor is quiet, cold wind off the water, stars scattered overhead. When he reaches his apartment, he finds an envelope taped to the door. Inside is a letter. Dad, I'm sorry I haven't called. I'm sorry I left. I'm sorry I let my anger at the world turn into anger at you. I heard what happened at Murphy's. Frank called me, told me you finally showed someone who you really are. I want to see you, if you'll let me. I'm flying in next weekend, Saturday, 2 p.m. I'll be at the harbor. I don't expect forgiveness. I just want to try again. Love, Emma. Thomas reads the letter 3 times. Then he sets it on the kitchen table, sits down, stares at it. His hands tremble, just slightly. For the first time in 2 years, Thomas Kade cries. Not loud, not dramatic, just quiet tears. Relief and grief mixing into something he doesn't have a name for. Saturday, 2 p.m. Thomas stands at the harbor. The wind is cold. The water is gray. A figure appears at the end of the pier, dark hair, his daughter's walk. Emma stops 10 feet away. They stare at each other. Then Emma steps forward, hugs him. Thomas closes his eyes, holds her. I'm sorry, she whispers. So am I. They stand there for a long time, the water lapping against the pier, the gulls crying overhead. Eventually, they walk to a small cafe, sit by the window, order coffee. Emma tells him about her job, her apartment, the therapy she's been going to. Thomas listens, really listens. Frank told me what you did, Emma says. At the bar, how you handled that guy. I didn't do much. You showed restraint, grace. You could have destroyed him, but you didn't. Thomas stirs his coffee. Destroying people is easy. Helping them change is harder. Emma smiles, small, sad. Mom used to say that. She did. I miss her. So do I. They sit in silence, not uncomfortable, just present. Dad, Emma says eventually, I want to be in your life again, if you'll let me. Thomas looks at his daughter, really looks. She has Claire's eyes, his stubborn chin. I'd like that, he says. Emma exhales, relief flooding her face. But, Thomas continues, I'm still going to wash dishes. Emma laughs. I wouldn't expect anything different. True strength never needs volume. It doesn't demand attention, doesn't require validation, and doesn't perform for an audience. Real power lives in restraint, in the ability to absorb cruelty without returning it, to stand firm without aggression, to teach through presence rather than preaching. The loudest person in the room is rarely the strongest. And the quietest person, the one washing dishes, sweeping floors, doing the work no one notices, might be the one who's seen war, saved lives, and chosen humility over pride. Dignity isn't given, it's carried. And the weight of a life well lived speaks louder than any voice ever could. If you believe in the power of quiet strength, hit that subscribe button. Comment your favorite moment from Thomas's story. Did Derek's transformation move you, or was it Emma's return that hit hardest? Like this video if you understand that real heroes don't need recognition, they just need purpose. And tell me where you're watching from. Remember, the strongest people you know are probably the ones you underestimate. Stay humble, stay strong, and never forget. Actions always speak louder than words.